A very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to the Earth Day 2022 panel session. So I hope you all are doing well and you are able to hear us clear. So before I start, there's some housekeeping that I need to announce. Firstly, please be notified that this session is being recorded. All your mic has been muted. You cannot unmute them until at the end of the session, except for the speakers. They have the control of their sound. The rest of you are not able to unmute yourself until we finish the session. If you do have question, put it in the chat. And if you want to ask the question towards the end, you can raise your e-hand and I can unmute you and you are free to ask the question directly, or you can actually put it on the chat box. Firstly, thank you for taking your time to join us in this important discussion as we go into a long Labor Day and Hari Raya weekend. My name is Nair. I'm the president of DISTED College and also a professor in sustainable tourism. I hope you will have a great session today. So ladies and gentlemen, for Malaysia, we are looking forward to 2022 as the nation moved into the endemic phase of the global fight against COVID-19. Nonetheless, we have not forgotten Earth Day and the significance of this event. Earth Day is an annual event held on April 22nd to demonstrate support for environmental protection. It was first held on April 22nd, 1970. It now includes a wide range of events coordinated globally by Earth Day organization, formerly known as the Earth Day Network, including where you can see at presently there's more than 1 billion people in more than 193 countries, including Malaysia, supporting this Earth Day event. So this year, the theme for Earth Day is invest in our planet. It's a call to action for all of us, from individuals to governments to industry, to innovate and collaborate for a healthy and prosperous planet. We can identify countless examples of how the Earth naturally sustains life. Over time, we have also learned how to harness the Earth's resources to sustain a growing population and advance technological progress. Post-COVID, innovations are needed to ensure we sustainably have healthy food, readily available energy sources, and also good, clean water. So what can we do to invest in our planet? There are many things that we can do individually and in a coordinated group, from reduced plastic pollution, conserving water and energy, building resilient communities, and also to protect terrestrial and marine ecosystem. So the issue of climate change cannot be forgotten as Malaysia continue to be impacted by flash flood, not because of Mother Nature or act of God, but poor management and disregard for the environment in all planning development. So hence the decisions we make now to tackle this imminent threat will affect us for generations to come, including our ability to halt global warming. So the coronavirus pandemic is a tragedy and its consequences will be felt for a long time. Yet, though global health condition will eventually return to a form of normal, our environment will never do so if we reach the tipping point. So the COVID-19 pandemic is painfully showing us that our challenges are increasingly global in nature and require systemic solution. Hence, for climate change and other environmental issues, we need similar commitment, similar committed global actions. A global commitment by every country in this planet is required to invest in our planet. Everyone has the ability to do something to address our climate change and challenges that we are facing. But we can all still do more. What will you do? So over the past week, since 22nd April, at DISTED College, we had series of activities and talks in conjunction with Earth Day 2022. We will close this year's Earth Day event with a panel discussion today on the 2022 theme, Invest in Our Planet. We have today with us 3 panelists who will be addressing the 2022 theme. The panelists include Dr. Marzieh Fallah, ecotourism consultant and from Eco Coach and Tours in Penang. Dr. Fallah has obtained her PhD in the field of environmental management from Universiti Putra, Malaysia. She is involved for 12 years in both practical and scientific fields of ecotourism, sustainable tourism, and environmental management. She developed criteria and indicators for sustainable tourism in Penang National Park and sustainability modeling in national parks and protected areas. She developed green practices in green resorts in the hospitality industry. Since 2018, she has been involved as an ecotourism consultant in a travel and tour company. That will be our first panelist today. Secondly, we have Professor Dr. Ngai Weng, the president of the Water Watch Penang, and also a professor of Universiti Sains Malaysia. Prof. Chan is a professor at USM in Penang, Malaysia. He is active in lecturing, research, and writing, and also involves a lot in the NGO work. He is also a consultant in the field of hydrology, climatology, environment, and water resources studies. He has taught as a visiting professor at the Asian Institute of Technology and also at the University of Memphis in US. He was previously vice president of the International Water Resources Association and a member of International Association of Hydrological Sciences and member of the International Water Association. He's active in civil society work related to water resources management, being currently the president of Water Watch Penang. He's also the treasurer of Malaysian environmental NGOs and a member of the Malaysian Water Partnership and Malaysian Water Association. He has completed more than 100 research consultancy and community projects and published extensively across the world. And he is also has done a lot of guest lectures across many areas. Lastly, we also have Miss Ashawani Chinathamby, Senior Officer of an environmental education and outreach attached to the Penang Green Council. She is a graduate in accounting and finance from University of Greenwich in London. She joined PGC in 2012 and is now the senior officer under Environmental Education and Outreach Division. Her experience has allowed her to work closely with the local community groups in understanding environmental and sustainable matters. Asha is currently promoting Penang Green Office Project certification, aiming at creating a sustainable and conducive environment in the working place. She believes that our office is also our second home, and comfort leads to productivity. Other projects that she is managing include Penang Green School Program, Penang Green Journalism Award, Penang Rainwater Harvesting Incentives, and Food Waste Challenge Incentives. So we do have 3 great presenters and panelists who will do a short 10-minute presentation before we be involved in a discussion to see what is the way forward for Penang as far as the environment is concerned in taking care of our nature, and also how we can move forward at the Penang agenda and also the Malaysian agenda. So without further ado, let me invite our first speaker, Dr. Fallah, Dr. Marzieh Fallah, to start us off with the discussion today. Dr. Marzieh, you can share your screen and unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, I start from the tourism, how tourism can contribute to the investing in our planet. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you, are you sharing your screen?
No, I didn't, I don't have a presentation.
Oh, you don't have, okay, okay. I thought you have a screen, okay, all right.
So how tourism can contribute in investing in our planet. The issues that we have in tourism industry is over tourism, or so-called mass tourism. Mass tourism means a large amount of people at one time in one destination. So you see, in 1950, there were 25 million international tourist arrivals. And in 2020, the number was expected to be 1.6 billion. That means the more people, the most people traveling at the history. And the over tourism has negative impact in our environment, wildlife, people, and the vulnerable population around the world. So besides that, water pollution, water shortage, and too much of garbage and placing them, land use change and devastation of the ecosystem. Besides that, in the wildlife, we, based on the scientific statistics, we have more than 500,000 animals suffering around the world for different parts of tourist attractions. Unfortunately, tourism industry has significant negative impacts on the environment. So in moving forward to invest in our planet, we need to promote sustainable and responsible tourism instead of conventional tourism. What sustainability means that meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So sustainability in tourism is very essential and very important. And it is not only from the environmental sustainability, but I want to emphasize on economic sustainability, because we have to ensure that tourism, like many other businesses, is a business that its prime aim is to maximize the profit. So profitability is very important in tourism industry. At the same time, tourism industry is very dependent on the existence of the natural environment that provides essential resources for the tourists that visit that place, such as fresh air, drinking water, and also tourist attraction like unspoiled natural environment for hiking, bird watching. So the balancing between these maximizing the profit and meanwhile protecting the natural environment is the key point for the sustainable tourism. We want to know that just this question raised that why tourism industry cannot shift to sustainable tourism, because it can be profitable and it can be conserve the nation. Just to consider this point that being environmental friendly is typically associated with sacrifice, including the sacrifice of comfort. Like instead of driving, you have to walk. This is sacrifice of comfort, sacrifice of time, recycling the garbages, sacrifice of money, buying the more expensive locally grown vegetables. So consequently, tourism industry perceives sustainable tourism as a sacrificial tourist niche. So while tourism destination and businesses are well aware about the necessity of the natural resource and protecting the environment, but they're also aware of the profit that they have to sacrifice for the environment. So there is a tension between tourism development and sustainable tourism, because actual practice of the tourism is consumerism and making the profit. So it can be concluded that tourism industry, aware of the necessity of the protect the environment But in the same time, they need to protect the organization and business to make profit. So the solution is that we have to motivate the tourism industry to become more, to make the sustainability and maximizing the profit as the mutual goal and as a complementary business goal, and to find out the strategies to minimize the gap between sustainability and profitability. So I want to emphasize on the Penang Tourism Master Plan 2021 to 2030, because one chapter in this master plan dedicated to the sustainable tourism. The vision of this master plan is to make Penang as a premier, sustainable, diversified, and a smart tourism destination. With the shift in tourism style after the pandemic, Penang set a continuing mood to address the new tourism, empowering the arts, culture, and heritage with the exhibition for the local artists, identify and promote the agritourism and ecotourism in Seberang Perai to promote a center for local products, exchanging the selling and agritourism destination, and Penang Eco Islets. Other than main island, Penang, which is Penang, there are other islets like Jerjak, Kennedy, Aman, Gendung, and Batu Payung that can be developed with the suitable infrastructure and promoted as an ecotourism attraction with certain carry capacity. So tourism, besides the mass tourism, can have negative impact on the environment and has negative impact on the local community, but it can be an opportunity to promote conservation. It can be an opportunity for alleviate the poverty and positively promote the lives of people with the right strategy and with the right implementation. And while promote the cultural connection and understanding between the people. So the purpose of tourism could be a vehicle for local community to achieve their goals and give an opportunity to change all of them. We have to change the mindset about the tourism, and to change our mindset, we have to find the solution and not be part of the problem. So tourism can be a power in a way that creates shared value for all travelers and host community alike, while preserving the places and natural resources and cultural heritage. So another thing that regarding the Penang, about the rapid urban development that is happening across the Penang state, which may affect the natural environment and the pristinity of the destination. So it requires a balance between conservation of the nature and sustainable economic gains. Sustainability also means the authenticity of local arts and cultural needs and to be remained. All right. So we talk about sustainability as we talk about the tourism that how it can harm the sustainability, but it also can alleviate poverty. It can recover the natural environment. Many of the jobs that created in the for the tourism, especially in the mass tourism, 14% of every dollar that is spent in a country, only 14% is spent in the country. So one issue that we are facing in the economic sustainability is the economic leakage. It means that only a small amount of money stays in the community, and the major amounts goes to the origin country, which is not the local community. And many jobs that created are low level and high paid, while high position jobs, a salary goes to the non-local people. So we need to rethink about the way we travel. People need to know that they are harming the environment, they are affecting to the local community, and there is no demand for tourists. And if there is no demand for activities that harm the nature, so the entertainment and the activity will change. All right. For the travel agency and the tourism industry, there are some, in my opinion, there must be some criteria and some checklists that implemented in the travel industries. There are some certification like travel life certification programs that provide certification standard to evaluate and prove and communicate with the sustainability achievement of the company. And there are other certificates as well, but this is not justifiable for the travel agencies or for the travel industry, because they think that it is not in line. They find out that it is not in line with the profit making of the company, which is the main core of the institute or the business. So the positive impact that we can have through sustainability is that with the proper management, tourism can bring economic prosperity to local costs and create job opportunities. And when locals spend money on goods and services, it leads to what is known as a multiple effect and creating more jobs. And for the social impact, positive impact of sustainability, the improvement of instruction also benefits the local community with the positive social impact. And tourism encourages the traditions and the customs, handicrafts, and festivals that might have been otherwise allowed to be faded, and it creates national pride. And also it creates an interchange between hosts and guests and create a better cultural understanding and can help raise global awareness of issues like poverty and human rights. All right, the positive impact of the sustainable tourism and environment is that tourism can promote conservation of wildlife and natural resources such as rainforests, and now they are regarded, which they are regarded to the tourism assets, and generates adequate funding for animal preservation, for entrance and guide fees. So regarding the infrastructure in tourism, I wanted to mention about about some issues in Penang that is happening just now near my office, like in the stretch along the Gurney drives. There was a beautiful scenic public waterfront in the Gurney drive, and now they made it like a land reclamation, and they're going to make a private wellness center. So this land reclamation is another issue in Penang that creates the flora and fauna loss, because last time there was a mangrove there and otters and animals there. So these things, although the tourism industry, they are aware about the necessity of taking care of the environment, but this cost and benefit and the trade-off, they made them to do the development about the tourism. Okay, my talk just now finished. If you have any question, you can ask.
Thank you, Dr. Fallah. We will come back to the questions at the end once all the panelists have spoken. So thank you for giving us an overview of where tourism is as far as Penang is concerned, and how the impact of the changes that is taking place across Penang, especially post-COVID, with more and more tourists coming in. So what can we expect in the changes? So we will have more discussion after this. So next, I will call upon Professor Ngai Weng to discuss the water issues. So he is truly an authority on this field, and we are curious to know as well how bad or what is the impact that you see as far as Penang is concerned. Over to you, Prof. Chan.
Thank you very much, Prof. Vicky, my old friend. Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank DISTED for inviting me to share some of my experiences with you. Today, I'm just going to focus solely on water, although the main theme is Earth Day, to go green. Penang has the Penang Green Council, but they don't have a Blue Council. So my thrust of my talk is actually you cannot go green without going blue. Okay, water is life. There's no life without water. You can only survive maximum 7 days without water. Yet water is the most undervalued, abused, wasted, and taken for granted resource. We all know this. And there's this paradox of value. It's called the diamond water paradox. Now, it is a apparent contradiction that although water is needed for life and is very, very useful, much more useful, millions of times more useful compared to diamonds. Diamonds is just used to cut things because it's hard. But in the market, diamond commands a huge value. Look at this Cullinan diamond. It's up to US 2 billion, not 2 million, $2 billion dollars in value. But you see my water bill, I use only 5 ringgit. And that's over 2 months. And people are wasting water like nobody's business. This is the reality. And I'm speaking not just, for Penang people. I think Penang people use the most water. You can see later because the price is the cheapest. So there we go. It's a big irony in life. So as we see, as I speak here, there are lots of people in the world don't have enough water. You go to some places, you turn on the tap, the water doesn't come out. It's only water there a few hours of the day. And children, especially girls, have to walk some 10 kilometers per day or so just to get some water for the family. And hence, they don't go to school. Yeah, many girls in Africa, India, they don't go to school. And we are fighting over this water. And lots of children, they die, 1.5 million every year for drinking bad water, polluted water. Big problem. Now, Malaysia is actually, by and large, very rich in terms of water resources. We have lots of water, rainfall until it's flooding every time, half an hour, KL floods. Big problem. That's why it gives us, the wrong impression that we have too much water. But actually, you can't drink the flood water. So it's not about the quantity, it's also about the quality of the water. So although Malaysia is very rich in terms of water, we are talking about Penang. Penang is a water poor state. Look at those states in red. They are all not rich in water. They are poor. And hence, they need to buy water from other states, including Selangor. Penang, we are trying to get water from Perak and from Kedah. So looking at Penang, these are the hydrological parameters, and we are actually very poor. But just to sum it up, you can see that we only have about 600 cubic meter per capita per year. That's the renewable water we get for Penang. For Malaysia, it's about 20,000 cubic meters per person per year, renewable. And Singapore is less than Penang. Singapore is 139. So as you can see here, Penang, we are in a very, very precarious position because we don't have enough water. So where do we get our water from? Most of it is from the Sungai Muda. 80% of our water comes from Sungai Muda, and Sungai Muda comes in from Kedah. So we have lots of problems in Penang. So we have huge industries, we have gross water pollution in the rivers. Just go and look at our rivers, and we don't have much catchment left. Sometimes you get water cut, and then we have climate change, El Nino every now and then, posing lots of problems. So these are our main problems, major issues affecting water sustainability in Penang. We over rely on the Sungai Muda. 80% of our water comes from Sungai Muda, and Kedah has been demanding us to pay up. We don't pay because actually we share the river with Kedah, so the river flows into Penang, and Penang is taking water only from the Penang side. So it's actually we don't have the need or the responsibility of paying them. But then Kedah is logging the area, the Ulu Muda catchment, and this has causing a lot of problems. Penang has very little catchment land. We only have about 6% water catchment. The rest, 94% all developed into industry, into housing, into all sorts of things. So catchment is very, very small. And Penang rivers are very grossly polluted. And 3 of the main most polluted river in the whole country is actually from Penang. So huge problem. Our rivers we can't use, And the tariff, in irony, actually, because Penang is poor in water, we should actually increase the tariff so that people are more sensitized towards paying. Penang people, I'm sorry to say this, I'm also Penang people, we are very careful, very frugal in terms of money. So when the tariff is so cheap, you can't ask them to save water. They will just look at you with the blank eyes. I have been scolded, I say, are you sure you teach in USM? You ask us to save water when water is so cheap. Don't you know how to count? Actually, saving water is not saving money. Saving water is to save it for the future. And of course, we are facing lots of bad politics in terms of water. There's a quarrel between Kedah and Penang, Perak. So far, Perak don't want to give us the water. They don't want to sell. Even though in the past, actually, we have already come to an agreement with the federal government to get water from Perak. So big problem. Some of these are actually not from Penang, but just to show you, they are already quarreling over the water. So if they don't resolve, the water issue is going to be very, very bad, especially for a water-stressed state like Penang. So why we need to invest for this Earth Day? I'm appealing to everyone, including the water consumers, including the hotels, including everyone. We should invest in ecosystem, in technology, and people. 3 things. Why should we invest in ecosystem? Because ecosystem provide us with all the ecosystem services, including water. Okay, forest is not about logging, just log. It gives us medicine, it gives us water, it gives us a lot of things. It gives us the air, the oxygen we breathe. But we are logging it, we are destroying it, and this is a problem. So we must invest in water catchment. Particularly, we must try to talk with Kedah and find certain ways of how we can conserve the Ulu Muda catchment, which supplies Penang with 80% of our water. We must invest in technology. Okay, we have to increase the Sungai Dua water treatment plant. The Mengkuang Dam has already been increased in size as a reserve. We must invest in the Sungai Prai water supply scheme. This river has not been used yet, and it remains the only river that we can use, big enough to supply. So I think in the future, it's not too far away, we have to go to desalination, like what Singapore is doing. Singapore has just come up with a 5th desalination plant, and at the moment, they no longer depend on Malaysia for water. In the past, actually, we quarrel a lot, with them. They were, very scared of us cutting off the water, but not anymore, because they are already self-sufficient. Okay, there are other technologies which we can use, which can invest in. Our free trade zone, the factories can invest in water recycling, aquaculture industry is big in Penang. They can also invest in the reclamation of water and reuse of water. So all these technologies need to be invested in. And last but not least, I think we should invest in people, because you can have the best technology, you can have the best water service provider, your best quality water, enough water. But if you get people who are not sensitized, factories who are not sensitized, hotels don't give a damn, you are going to screw up the whole thing, because people are going to destroy it, because they are going to stress. If they use too much water, then the supply will not be enough. So we have to get everybody on board, water consumers, big or small, including individual, to get involved so that they are sensitized. They know that Penang is a water-stressed, water-poor state. If we don't want other states to bully us, we should save water for Penang. That actually was the slogan that Singapore used. If you don't want Malaysia to bully us, save water for your country. We can do the same thing. But I mean, this is politics. We don't want to get into that. Okay, so we try to get people on board to change litter bucks into responsible citizens so that our water in the river is clean and we can use it. At the moment, it's so dirty, we can't even treat those water with conventional treatment. Sungai Penang, you see, this is the same river. Sungai Adjunct is at the headwater in Botanic Gardens, and it flows into Sungai Penang. You look at this is class 2, class 1 quality, come here, become class 5. How can this be possible? Human beings are magicians. Just, within 10 kilometers, The river just changed dramatically. But other states have done it. Malacca River is very good now. You see, they have done it. Singapore River in the 70s, Singapore River used to be like Sungai Pinang, but they have done it. And this is the Cheong River. Also, they have done it. So it is possible to reverse the trend if we get people on board, you know, from this, go back to this one. And of course, we must not only think about domestic people, we must think about the big water users. One of them, unfortunately, is USM, where I work in. We are one of the biggest water users in the whole of Penang. We need to get USM to be water friendly. At the moment, we are ranked number 4 in terms of the global sustainability rankings. Tahniah and congratulations USM, but USM cannot sustain this ranking if they don't go blue in terms of water. So far, they are doing good, but I think we can do more. Of course, factories, hotels, all these schools and so on, they need to do water saving. In fact, make Komta a blue building. Schools, schools, we have a Water Wash Penang and Clean International. We have a big 100 school project, getting these 100 schools in Penang to save water by installing water saving technology. This is over 3 years, and I'm happy to say that, you know, Water Wash Penang is one of the few organizations that got this international grant, and we are hoping that we can extend this next year to all the schools in Penang. Yeah, and of course, the $4 million question is, how can you help in terms of individual? A lot of people say, oh, I'm only one person, what can I do? Of course, you can do a lot. You go green, you live a green lifestyle, you start, you know, influencing people around you, save water, use it wisely. Join NGOs like Water Wash Penang. We can use people like you know, young people. If you don't know what, just go and Google Water Wash Penang. Start a water rangers group in DISTED. Prof Vicky, get your students to start a water rangers group. Then report leakages and so on. And in fact, for next year, Vicky, may I suggest that you let the students organize this event. You yourself don't do it. You just sit back, you know, and watch them do it. They have fantastic ideas. These young people, let me tell you, okay? And there are 20 ways to save water, please. Why do I put this beautiful lady there? I'm trying to get her to do a video of her bathing. I mean, nice one. Just show the head so that she will switch off the water when she's soaping and so on and so forth. But so far, I have not been successful. Okay, I met her somewhere. Okay, so in conclusion, there are 3 things that we need to do. Of course, invest in ecosystem, invest in water technology, and also invest in people. Now, in the future, I think there is no escape for Penang to go into desalination, because I don't see how Perak and Kedah can come to terms with Penang and negotiate so that we agree to sign any agreement for transferring of the water from the Sungai Muda as well as the Sungai Perak. So desalination will be the thing now. Thank you very much. So just talking is no use. We have to walk the talk. So in my house, I have 2 rainfall harvesting units. I plant my own vegetables, although not enough. And my water bill is only 5 ringgit. But it's going up because I'm doing this gardening as my water tank from rainfall harvesting is not enough. Thank you very much. Back to you, Vicky.
Thank you, Prof. Chan. That was really a great eye-opener for us on the state of water in Penang. You're right, we don't value the water because water seems so cheap. Sometimes we wonder, why is it so cheap when we are not a rich state with water? So we should be a bit more careful in the way how we use water. But we'll discuss more when we come to our discussion session. So next, I would like to call upon Ms. Asha to give us her side of story as far as what Penang is doing and what is the agenda, the green and Penang green agenda. And this is something that I think all of us got to listen very carefully as well. Over to you, Asha.
Good afternoon, Prof. Week, and good afternoon to Dr. Marzieh and also Prof. Chan. So I am Asha from Penang Green Council. Let me share the screen first. Right, so I hope you can see my screen. So yeah, I'm Asha and I'm from Penang Green Council. So I think we have heard from the 2 environmental legends on all the water issues in Penang and tourism issues. And I'm going to walk you through some of other initiatives by the state government. And yeah, just want to clarify that my presentation today will be focusing more on Penang's green agenda instead of Penang green agenda, because I believe that's two different things. So let me just, let's go straight to my presentation. All right, so Penang leads since 2008. So this one I need to ask Prof. Chan. I think he knows better in all these areas. All right, so let me just walk through the milestone. In 2008, so Penang launched the first cleaner, greener Penang campaign. And in 2009, we had our no free plastic bag in all supermarkets and also hypermarkets every Monday. So this is for the plastic, for the plastic story, this is the first journey. So meaning we started the plastic story in 2009. All right, and then we continue with ban on polystyrene of food containers. So this is, I'm sure that we don't really find polystyrene food containers here in Penang anymore. And then followed by some other initiatives. And in 2011, no free plastic bag in all supermarket and hypermarket every Monday were introduced. So this is only to those participating outlets in Penang. All right, and then followed by car-free day in Georgetown every Sunday. And then car-free day every Sunday in Bandar Peradun part of it, all right? Seberang Perai, sorry. And followed by, next was the Penang kicked off the bicycle lane plan in 2012. And incentive for green building, which is GBI, were also introduced in 2013. Yeah, I go with Prof. Chan again. So I think, Prof. Chan, I agree with you that Komta must be a blue building as well as a green building in the future. All right, and next is in 2015, we had this ban on shark fin soup in all state functions. So this was also introduced to as an initiative on shark fin soup, sharks and also all other seafoods. So this was a very small initiative, but I'm sure that this is in place now, right? And then we followed with food waste reduction initiatives. So these were introduced in several places in Penang, but unfortunately, some of the places has stopped operating. But nevertheless, we still have Penang Food Incentive Challenge by Penang Green Council. So whoever or other companies, industries, or even the local businesses, if they are running food waste machine and so on, then they can definitely come back to PGC and we can see how we can work about it. Yeah? And then in 2016, we had our first waste segregation at source policy. So for those who knows, they know. So for those who doesn't know, this is actually an act under Act 672, which is Solid Waste Management and General Cleanliness 2007. And I'm sure that most of us know that MBSP and MPBP is working hand in hand in, asking everyone from the domestic side and as well as the industrial side to actually do the segregation at home, and we started from the source. Yeah, in 2016. And then bicycle sharing system as alternative transportation. I think you can see a lot of link bike stations everywhere in Penang now. So this was one of the another idea by the state government as well. And moving on, state government has also came out with local councils setting up pocket parks around urban areas like Georgetown, and we have several other areas in MBSP. All right, and in 2017, Penang has planted over 271,000 trees. So this data was collected from MBSP and MBBP. All right, and then converting the conventional street lights to LED, so we don't see the yellow lights anymore on the street, most of the places in Penang. And then comes the PGC introducing the Penang Green Agenda, which is actually a set agenda and initiative. So by PGC and also state government in focusing for a better, to build a resilient community in Penang by 2030 to 2050. So it's actually a shared vision. So we'll talk about it more later. And then in 2018, we also launched no single-use plastic campaign, and followed by the CM announcing, our Chief Minister announcing the Penang's Vision 2030. Right, so this was the vision, family-focused, green and smart state that inspires the nation. This is, yeah. And then I'm going to end this initiative with this slide, which is our launch of Not Straw Plastic campaign in 2019, and No Plastic Bag Day every Monday at participating outlets, followed by No Plastic Bag every Monday and Tuesday, also Wednesday at participating outlets. And then, yeah, I should say that Penang is also one of the, we also have reached the recycling rate of 45% in year 2020. I should say that we have actually already taking the lead, meaning the national level was below 45%. So yeah, that's and in 2021, I think everyone is aware of this, that the state government has came out with imposing a RM1 charge for every plastic bag that we ask or we require every Thursday to Sunday. So meaning every Monday to Wednesday, there will be no plastic bags. So this is actually how to say, if you can put this the plastic bag story, and then you can see the journey of the plastic bag. So unfortunately, I'm unable to show you today due to my very limited timing. So yeah, I would like to just introduce a few projects in PGC that we are actually doing in combating the environmental issues and trying the best in addressing all the green issues. I'm going to talk mainly about the first three projects, which is done in my own division, which is EEO, and think tank and policy, and also project planning and development. Okay, so as for, as you can see, as for the EEO, so we have a few projects, which is like virtual classroom for environmental education. This is actually a more like a camps and workshops conducted for all level of community, I should say, from young kids up to adults. All right, and then we have zero waste network. You can, if you want to know more, you can go to our website, and you can go into zero waste network to look for all the recyclers that is available around your area. So this would be at one click. And then we also have the learning and leadership empowerment. This is 2LE, involving some, this is more like a neighborhood program. So involving some selected neighborhood, and then asking them to come up with some initiative plans to improve their livability in the neighborhood. All right, and last but not least, we also have award and incentive under EEO. So these are the incentives under EEO, and yeah, all of this is actually it's handled by me personally. So we have Penang Green Office, we have Food Waste Challenge Incentive, we have Penang Green School, and I should say that Penang Green School is also working closely with WWP Water Watch under Nega Liters project, yeah, Professor Tan. So we just recently launched Nega Liter project for school under Penang Green School, and we also have Penang Green Journalism and Rainwater Harvesting System. So these are just something for you to see. So these are various camps and various projects that we have run. Green Map is basically we collaborate with PBA, and then we bring the community, I mean the real community, meaning they are a very lay individuals, laymen. So we bring them to the water treatment plant and let them see for themselves how things are being done at PBA's water treatment plant. So these are training of trainers for the adults. So last 2 years, unfortunately, we were unable to conduct due to MCO, but we did two, sorry, if I'm not mistaken, 2 sessions for the government employees through online. I'm moving next to think tank and policy. So what does think tank and policy run in PGC is that they set agenda and initiate conversations and identifying issues in Penang. So basically, we have a Penang Green Agenda and Green Data under these divisions hand. So what does PA mean? Yeah, and I think many of us are also confused, like Penang Green Agenda and Vision Penang 2030. So we are confused here, but I should say that it actually complement each other. I mean, they have a shared vision, and you can see here, right? So PGA is actually to formulate strategies which help to meet future environmental challenges in Penang while incorporating all the SDG goals and to adapt and also to build resilient community in Penang by 2030. Right, so that's for Penang Green Agenda. So these are the issues that they talk or they came out. They came out with a recommendation from issues at the end of the day. So that's what all PGA is about. So the recommendation is actually sent to the state government for them to take further actions. So there are 10 working groups. So, all the 10 working groups, the various topics that they pick to discuss on is actually based on all the UN SDG goals. Next, we have public surveys. So we have done a few surveys to see how the public is actually reacting to all those policies and all those initiatives that are. At the end of the day, this survey is also being passed to the state government for them to make further decision and so on. So that's for public survey. Yeah, and sorry if I missed out the green data. Green data is more of a compilation of data as a centered key reference based on all the SDGs also. Next, which is PPD. So PPD is they bring in projects involving external and also local collaborators into Penang or in PGC. So under PPD, we have circular economy, we have carbon framework. So it's like a carbon inventory for framework, of course. And then we also have climate. So we have climate modeling and also greenhouse gases training program workshops under this. So if you are interested, then maybe we can discuss later, or you can ask me questions in the chat and I can help you to answer what are those things. And yeah, so I should, that's all that I want to talk about today. And last but not least, we are also on the major events of in Penang. So these are some of the projects that we actually come out with. We together with the state government, we celebrate the Earth Day, involving all various layer of people, and then involving kids, involving a lot of activities, and at the end of the day, make sure it's all fun and learning. So these are Penang Green Carnival. Yeah, Penang Green Carnival last we had in 2019 or 18, I'm not sure, due to the pandemic again. So we had to put it on hold. So hopefully in future we can come back to Penang Green Carnival. And last but not least, sorry, Prof, I'm just stealing your platform to actually promote one of our major, I'd say bazaar kind of carnival, which will be happening in June at Hinbas Depot. So this is actually, we are in plan to bring all of you back to the past. So you get to play games, you get to see what are the things that we usually get, usually we hear from our grandparents and our parents back then. So yeah, that is all from my side. Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you so much, Asha. I think you're doing a lot for Penang, and I really applaud the amount of projects that you're working on, and certainly I think at DISTED we'll be very happy to work closely using our students and some of your agenda. So we will now come to our discussion for the topic today. So maybe I will just ask one question, then let me look at the chat. There are some questions coming from the chat as well. Maybe one question across all the panelists today. If you look at where we are today, we have gone through almost 2 years of lockdown and COVID. Post-COVID, do you see a change happening in the travel behavior, the consumer behavior in Penang, right from tourism to the way how they manage water, to their understanding of the green agenda? Do you see there is going to be a change that may happen because after 2 years of lockdown, we tend to be more appreciative of the environment? We have seen in many countries across the globe, countries where they went through lockdown, the environment improved, the wildlife situation improved, and the environment seemed to be getting better. So you can actually see that the major impact across the globe, as far as environment is concerned, is originating from the human behavior and the way how we have managed our life. So do you foresee in years to come, post-COVID, especially now that we're coming out of COVID, we have already gone into endemic stage. Do you see there's changes happening? Maybe Dr. Fallah, you can tell us in your own experience, because you're managing ecotourism here, is there a change in the behavior of tourists that is coming in and experiencing ecotourism in Penang? Do they want more things now? Do they appreciate nature better than before COVID? Because I understand you were also here before the COVID situation. So maybe you want to explain to us the changes that you see that has happened in Penang. Dr. Fallah? Your mic is muted. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, a few months passed after the interstate ban removed, and we received many, not many, but few domestic trips and travelers. But it's not clear that if people want more sustainable and more environmental friendly tourists, because it needs a bit of research to find out if the taste of the travelers change or not. But obviously now, because of these 2 years of habit, people tend to go to the trip in a smaller group and in a more family-based group, and the search and advertising and search for the online booking and online services, or how can I say, smart tourism, it increased. It's became our habit for 2 years that we search everything online, we inquire everything online. So I guess now companies, included one company, we rely less on advertising, on the printing. So we learned that it is possible to go online and promote the packages online and to introduce the destination online. So these are the things that I guess the trends after the post-COVID it happened. And so the groups become smaller. I think not because that much that people think that it could be more sustainable or more eco-friendly. Maybe it's because they become their routine and habit, and they feel more safer to go a small group that they know each other. So that kind of mass tourism is still not happening yet, but we don't know, maybe in future. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Fallah, for your comment. Prof. Chan, what do you think in terms of people's behavior, in terms of appreciation of water? Do you think things have got worse after COVID because they were just stuck at home, just using the water, and or do you think that I think people are appreciating water much more after coming out of the COVID situation? What do you think?
Okay, thanks, Wei. Now, before I go into answer that question, I would like to just reiterate what you have said about the environment getting better. Of course, when COVID came and it's a lockdown, MCO and things like that, nobody's going out, everybody's staying at home. So the rivers actually in Penang has gone back to, from class 5 to class 3. I think, you know, we had some reports from only newspapers and so on that actually showed that the Penang River, instead of black, it became green, not blue, but at least green. But now it's gone back to black again, you know. So it's terrible. But that actually proves that the culprit is a human being. It's not anything else, but actually human beings. So, well, coming back to your question on whether people are more appreciative of water or not, I don't think so, because the price didn't change, you know, and the moment they want water, they just switch it on, then the water comes out, and there's no stress. There is no water cut, there is no stress and things like that to them. So there's actually no improvement in any behavior, you know, in terms of water use. People carry on. In fact, I think they use more water when they're at home. Yeah, then they find things to do, you know, to wash the car, wash this, wash that, and they do lots of things at home, and I think they use more water. My guess is they use more water. Okay. The other thing is, I think for post-COVID, everything goes back to normal, and perhaps it's time that we restructure the tariff. I think government, not just in Penang, but the whole country is going to do that, so that it doesn't get politicized into a political event. So if everybody does it, then, you know, nobody is going to shoot anyone. Thank you very much, Weng.
Thank you, Prof. Chan. Asha, what do you think in terms of your green agenda? Do you think there's a change in the local community's perception of what is green and how much more they can do to support the green agenda, right from the schools to the universities to the college to the local community in Penang?
Okay. Yeah, Prof, I should say that people are trying to understand, and many of them are more involved in green initiatives, not necessarily in groups, but more as an individual, initiative. So from what we can see is that more and more people are taking up things slowly. So I would not say that there's none, but definitely more and more. But maybe these 2 years, like how Professor Chan said and also how Dr. Marzieh said, maybe these 2 years we have to put that into a different context already, because in green terms, we do have a lot of waste reported during COVID. Okay, that is again due to hygienic and also health issues and so on. So that part we can't really do anything, right? So because when it comes to life or life or environmental, then I should say that humans are definitely selfish. So they go for their life. So meaning to say that they take steps in putting themselves first. So, but now that with post-COVID, I can say that many of us are taking more initiatives. Like all the schools are, back to track. Like bringing all their kids, asking them to start back all these green projects in school. And many officers are also contacting us, and they are also starting back where they left 2 years ago. So I should say that slowly we will be there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Asha. So I'm just running through a lot of questions that has come from the chat. So let me maybe look at the first question here. I think we have one participant, my old friend from the Bahamas, have dialed in all the way. She's actually a Malaysian based in the Bahamas. So I see some comments from her. Education and informing in the school children is a good way to start. I find children can be a great influence, at least sensitize the young people. They do accept to their teachers and remind parents. Use of fillers on the local TV, using the media to sensitize people and give responsibility. Yes, I truly agree with the comment. I think it's key for us to actually start at a very young age. and having these environment clubs at the school level is the way forward. So I really thank Ampusam for taking the trouble. I know it's 4 a.m. now for you in the Bahamas, but you have taken the time to dial in today. We also have questions for Prof. Chan from Noors Shahzana. How can we restructure the water tariff to ensure the poor is not marginalized? So this is another important question. How do we manage the tariffs so that the poor will not be marginalized?
You want me to answer that one first?
Yes, Prof. Chan.
Quick. Yes, okay. Thank you very much for the question, No Shazana. This is actually the question that everybody is asking, because when you talk about restructuring water tariffs, people are scared that once if the poor get marginalized, they cannot get access to water, then someone will die. So nobody will die actually, because the water tariff is so cheap. Even if you increase double, I'm paying 10 ringgit. Even you increase 10 times, I'm paying 100 ringgit. So our position is like this. For the first 20 cubic meters of water, which is actually United Nations has said 20 cubic meter is the basic unit of an average family. So for the first 20 cubic meter, our position is no change. For Penang, 22 cents per 1,000 liters per cubic meter. 1 cubic meter is 1,000 liters. So if you don't change the first 20 cubic meter, then you increase after that, which is actually you're wasting or you're using more water already. So we only restructure from 21 cubic meters onwards. Then you have no problem with the poor. In fact, for Penang, Penang, our water service provider are very sensitized and very, very caring. If you are poor, so poor that you cannot afford to pay the water tariff, you can apply to them and they give it to you for free. You can show that you can't afford. If you can really show to the PBA, you cannot afford to pay your water tariff, you will get it free, the first 20 cubic meter. Yeah. And if you don't get it free, Water Watch Penang will pay for you. That's only 5 ringgit. It's not a problem, So,
okay.
So I hope that answers No's question. Yes. The poor will not be marginalized if you don't increase the first 20 cubic meter. Thank you very much. But after that, we double. Yeah. Okay.
We have another question for you from one of my classmates from UPM before, Mr. John Peng. He's asking on how do you make the best use of water in home gardening?
Oh, home gardening. Okay, as you can see from this slide here, you see I'm doing the gardening. I'm actually using most of my rainfall harvested water. I got one tank in the front garden and one in the back garden. This is 2, one in front, one at the back. So unfortunately, the water is only 300 liters. You see, it looks like an aircon, very nicely done. Huh? So it doesn't look ugly. And it doesn't take up any space at all. I just connect it to the gutters. There's a downpipe. Just connect to the downpipe and you get the water. There's a basic filtration just to filter off the leaves and things like that. But of course, you don't use this water to drink. You use it for gardening, for washing. It's okay. But I find that it's not enough, especially during the dry season. During the dry season, I use it up. Maybe within a few days, I use it up already. So I have to resort to the PBA water for my gardening. So yeah, it is possible to do the gardening. In fact, it's better for the plants because there is no chlorine there, for the rainwater. Thank you very much. I hope that answers the question.
Yes. Thanks, Prof. Chan. Dr. Fallah, there's a question from Prof. Chan, in fact. Malaysian tourists are mostly interested in food, shopping, sightseeing, but not on ecotourism. How can we get them to be involved and interested in ecotourism?
Well, that's a very good question, Prof. Chan. I want to mention that ecotourism as a sort of sustainable tourism is not only focused on environment and nature. It focuses on the nature, environment, social, and economic. So whatever we take care of the local community, whatever we take care of their culture, culture of the local community, it's part of ecotourism. So when people from other states, they come to Penang, because Penang is the niche for the diversity of the food. So when they buy from local people in the hawker center or from at Nasi Kandar or other places, they help in the local community to gain money from the tourism. So this is ecotourism. If it's not necessarily to go to the nature, but if you emphasize on the going to the nature, well, it is possible by awareness, and we have to attract people to the nature. And so, well, it needs strategies and planning from the government to create the attraction in the to make the green areas and natural area more attractive. But although I say that going to the shop and buying the souvenirs from the local people and buying the food, this is still part of ecotourism, and we have to promote that. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Dr. Fallah. Now I remember years ago you interviewed me, did you?
Yes.
Yeah. Now I remember. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Nice talking to you again. Yeah.
So one of the challenges before we wrap up is just one more question from me. In order for us to encourage industries and the people to be involved in sustainability, especially the industries, especially when a lot of agenda that Asha have mentioned, we need to ensure the industry is profitable first, because I always believe that if you're not profitable, you're not going to be sustainable. You don't care about sustainability. So how can we help the industry to be more conscious of the environment by introducing laws and regulation that is going to encourage them to be doing more good for the environment, right? From saving water, energy utilization, being green. So what can we do in terms of coming up with regulations? Or because I know Asha, you are working a lot closely with the state government as well. So I think you have the clout to actually to draft out something that can actually work for Penang. I always find Penang a bit unique compared to most states. We are able to do more things compared to the other state. We are small, but we are able to do a lot more. So do you think, Asha, is that something that that we should be doing more in coming up with legislation or at the state level that can help industry to be a bit more profitable by doing work that is supporting sustainability and being a bit more responsible to the environment?
Prof, I think you have already answered in the question itself, meaning this is my personal opinion, right? So now that we are also working on green industry framework in PGC, so this is very new. So we are also, getting all these water bodies like PBA and also other important bodies to come in on board with us. So what I'm trying to say is that if state, because I should say that we don't have the authority to say things, but this is my personal opinion that, regulations, laws will definitely move things better. This is what I feel. Because if we, to put sustainability, many people think sustainability is expensive. So I don't think so. So there are ways that we can actually work, and sustainability not necessarily expensive. So yeah, I do agree that putting regulations, laws, bringing regulation and laws into the picture will definitely make things, may shift the things, and definitely not putting the profit aside. So there are sustainable profits that we have, so many things that we can discuss about. So sorry that I don't really have an authority to say further on that. Yeah.
Thank you, Asha. There's just some comments, further comment from Ms. Ampusam here. Comments here on the water tank that Prof. Chan mentioned earlier. Good idea, water tank to be built as an addition to buildings, as a good practice to collect rainwater. salinization, legislature to be environmentally friendly already in the licensing process so that it's inclusive. Yeah, so all these things are good comments that we know there's a lot more for us to do. I know the focus of the country have been on COVID and health over the last 2 years. So I hope we don't really forget there is a more important agenda, that is environment, which once you reach a certain tipping point, then is not going to be reversible anymore. So this is something that so the same global agenda that we had for COVID must also be used for environment. So I really hope the session today have actually opened our discussion and have actually allowed us to discuss in length on the challenges that the country is facing and also that the state is facing. Comment here from Ahmad Azharuddin. I agree that Penang is doing a great job in terms of greening, sustainability and tourism. Penang can share the initiatives with other states as well. Yes, indeed. So I think Penang should lead the way to ensure that we are able to do more. We are able to work closer to the school kids. That is your future. So I think you got to start from the school and move from primary, from the nursery to primary to the secondary school, and then all the way to college and universities. So I think a lot more that we can do, and we hope all of you especially those of you who are here today in the panel, can be the ambassador to shout about this greening exercise. So I will like to wrap up the session. It's already 4:15. And I would like to thank everyone who have sacrificed their Friday. I know many of you are traveling due to the long weekend and holidays coming. I would like to wish in advance to all those celebrating Hari Raya. Have a good celebration. Before we go, maybe we want to get everyone to on their camera so that we can do a snapshot. It's good to see 35 people stayed on, almost a full turnout actually. We had 39 registered, 35 showed up today, which is very good. So can you just on your camera just for a few seconds, and then we can snap our photograph. Okay. Everyone is quickly adjusting their hairs now. Okay, let me get the first shot. Okay, so this is a tradition now for all events. Second one. Okay, right. All right. Okay, so I can see Ampusam. Let me unmute everyone. If anyone wants to say anything, you are free to speak up. Okay, you can unmute yourself now. Anybody, if you want to say anything before we end. Hi, John Pang. Good to see you.
Hi, Prof. Vic.
Hi.
Thank you.
John
And
Pang is my
Prof. Chan, I like your garden watering system. Very nice.
I want to say thank you for this opportunity to meet all my fellow Malaysians. As I said, sustainable development has been a very crucial topic because as a lactation management consultant, we try to add sustainable development with encouraging mothers and families to take the golden standard of breastfeeding. I'm a healthcare professional, retired, but working with NGOs at the moment. And so we sort of talk about deforestation, environmental problem as a result of artificial feeding, lack of landfill. So we are trying to marry those two things together. And I'm actually a very strong campaigner in the Bahamas now for going to raise the breastfeeding awareness. So sustainable development has been a very strong topic for us. to try and see people with power, the capital P and the little p, to look at it beyond just nutrition. You know, that it helps the way we think in terms of stopping deforestation, using landfills for your bottles, teas, and cans. So you see how we marry those two things together. But I'm so glad to hear so much interesting information. Sorry I was late, but this is still good. Thanks, Vicky.
Thank you so much, Ampusam, for taking your time. Always you have a 12 hours time difference, and you take the time to listen to us today, and for you to reconnect back to Malaysia, and hopefully you will come to Malaysia soon. So once again, thank you all for the session today. We hope to hear from all of you for more events that is going to be coming from DISTED College as well. And we hope you will continue to support the green agenda for Penang, and we will remain connected no matter where we are. So have a good long weekend. Stay safe. Don't take for granted that we are all 100% back to normal. Still stay safe wherever you are, and we will stay connected soon. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks, Rick.
Bye.